Dr. Abatis, I believe. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Does anybody have any comments about the minutes? No additions? Changes? Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Abatis is first.
Yes. Whenever you're ready. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So I am going to provide a summer and fall 2026 enrollment update for you that is reflective as of this past Friday, May 29th. So for summer 26, our overall enrollment headcount is up 21.6%, and FTE is up 23.6%. We had a deregistration that occurred on May 14th, affecting 139 students for a total of 637 credits and 21.2 FTE. As of this past Friday, 36 students re-registered, affecting the overall deregistration as follows. Total students deregistered 103 for 478 credits and 15.9 FTE. So as always, when we do a dereg, we have students who re-register for their courses, and this reflects that as well. For any questions about summer before I move on to fall? If not, so fall enrollment excluding Gemini and non-credit state aidable, headcount is up 6.8% and FTE is up 1.7%. And as a reminder, our new student registration for fall 26 began on April 28th compared to April 21 in 2025. So we have we're a week off in terms of comparison. Okay, so keep that in mind. And Gemini registrations will begin September 16th and end on October 7th. So we have a ways to go for fall. Any questions?
The 6.8% is year over year.
Yes, so head count for fall is up 6.8% compared to the same time period. Technically, we're a week off in 2025. Yeah.
Very healthy.
I want to see the FTE start to go up. That's what matters to me. Okay, thank you all. Thank you.
I think we're good.
And Matthew, thank you.
I think you can hear me. Can everybody hear me okay?
For the sake of anyone listening, if you could use the mic.
I'll use the mic. Thank you. I appreciate the reminder. You can help me out, Alyssa. Thank you. You saved me at open house too. I appreciate it. All right. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me today. I am Matt Stever. I'm the Director of Admissions here at the college. I am going to give a little bit of an update on a spring recruitment trip that myself and Nathan Baumgartner, one of our admissions counselors, took. As you may know, we are in year 2 of a full press concerted marketing and recruitment campaign for international students. And we have learned quite a bit over the first couple years, and we're honing in on a couple of target markets, Vietnam being one of them. So very quickly, what I'm going to run through tonight, three things. One is a little bit why we've selected Vietnam as a target market. The second one is a little overview of the trip we took this spring. And then the third one was a little bit of a synopsis of our recruitment plans moving forward. So everybody asked me, why did you guys go to Vietnam? We're a community college, we're a small place that's far away, it seems expensive. All those things are sort of correct. And the numbers are really driving a lot of this. This is a snapshot that we took. This is very recent. It's from last year. There's a couple things going on in that market specifically. The first one is the size of the population that is college age going. So you have 14.5% of the population of almost out of 105 million people that are in our window. So they are a young country. They are also attuned to sending students abroad. So if you looked at any country, anywhere where they're receiving students, so not just the US, but anywhere around the world, Vietnam is number 6 as an exporter of students somewhere else. So they're used to this. This is part of they know how to do this, and they're kind of culturally attuned to it. The other piece is, though, the breakdown of where they're going. So New York is the number 5 top receiving state in the United States. And then also they get associate's degrees. So a lot of times what you'll find is international students coming to the US or Canada, it's for graduate school, and then perhaps a bachelor's degree. That's not the case for Vietnam. For Vietnam, students they're either doctoral candidates or they're associate's candidates. So this is driving us. It is a market that makes sense, and they're sending people to us, and New York makes sense for them. So now the other piece I always get is, wow, that's probably a long flight, isn't it? The answer is absolutely. It takes 2 days to get over there. And by the numbers, I pulled it all together. We had 8 plane flights. We went to 3 different cities. So we started in the south in Ho Chi Minh. We went up to Hanoi, and then we went down to Da Nang. So we were all over the place. 8 plane flights, over 21,000 miles. And yes, we were in the air for 44 hours. And we were good stewards of our money. We were in back and coach the entire time. So we weren't up in front with the comfortable folks in business class. And then in terms of the business we ran, like we hustled, we had no time off when we were there. So 3 cities, and you have to fly back and forth. We had 3 college fairs. College fairs are 4 and 5 hours in length. They're full press. 3 receptions. That's with all the other schools, all the other counselors, the people putting on the events for networking. 6 high school visits. They actually drove us around, thank God, because the traffic there is insane. Crossing the street was the scariest thing we did in 2 weeks, 100%. But through this process, the important thing is, what are we getting out of it? So the leads we generated, so 84 students we actually sat down and met with face-to-face, collected their info, had a real dialogue. The other piece is the organizer, AAE, they provide the list of everybody who registered. So we have about 1,200 leads that we were able to put into our CRM, and we're communicating with them now after the fact. So if you talk about lead generation, that's what we're able to get out of it from a student record standpoint. Just a quick flip through of some of the highlights. So we're in the south. Ho Chi Minh is the capital. It's a very beautiful city. It wasn't really destroyed much during the war. And when we were there, this was the 50-year anniversary of the ending of the war. So for them, it's a very different scenario. It's a different narrative. There was a ton of imagery and flags in war, and this is a communist nation. We had to get special visas to go. That was a very interesting thing for us to go through culturally, but it's lovely, it's welcome, it's very Western, it's modern. We were treated exceptionally well. The food was phenomenal. If you like coffee, this is the place to go. I love coffee, it was phenomenal. So you can see on the right, when I said about driving, probably 80% are street bikes, and they do not follow the rules of life, engagement, red lights, green lights, none of it matters. They go wherever they want to go. So when we're up in the north, it's a little bit of a different story. Hanoi's pretty close to the Chinese border. So it's a little smaller. It's very conservative. You mind your P's and Q's. It's a little bit of a different narrative when you talk with the students. One of the things that I found interesting on the left there, that's the Hanoi Hilton where John McCain was held. So behind it is a high rise where we had a reception and a lunch, and you felt like you were in Miami. And you come out and there's the Hanoi Hilton. And that's a museum for them. That is a landmark. It's a national park, essentially. And then Da Nang is newer. It's down on the coast. This felt a lot like maybe if you were in South Florida, kind of the look in the field, sky rises. But this is where a lot of money is and a lot of new growth and a lot of exporting too. The picture on the right is one of the schools we went to the last morning. You'll notice the flag imagery is everywhere. They do not let you forget it. It is all over the place. And then the setup, we wanted the picture on the left. That in America, when you go to a fair, you go to Canango Academy, Eastview Mall, there's a table, you stand, people come by, you make conversation, hand a flyer out, you go on with your day. This, you have a translator. You sit down at a table, you shake hands, you present information, you receive information, you have a dialogue, you have a translator. It is very relational. You have to have an understanding of the culture, the experience, what they want to do in order to have your foot in the door, period. It's not one-off transactional stuff. So leading into this, what did we learn? So Nate went in the fall for the first time. He went on a very quick trip. I wanted to go back this time for a couple of reasons. Nathan really did the lead on recruitment. I spent a lot of my time with the fair organizers, the other schools, figuring out how do you do this? How do you crack the market? What are you doing? The schools we went to, I met with their heads, really to do a fact finding in terms of if we are a community college in New York State, how do we do this without a ton of resources? And we learned a lot in terms of how to like shake this up a little bit. So the biggest thing is strategic partnerships. We need to have somebody that we're working with that is physically located in country. Otherwise, we are not going to see any business. They will only work and trust and send students over with partner schools that have a relationship and a history. And it's not just a handshake and a phone call and an email. It is an actual relationship. The recruitment tactics, you know, we're learning how to talk, how to speak, how to collect their information, what is valuable to them. The student populations, I mentioned that there is a growing younger class. For the people that are a little bit older than me, like my daughter's in high school, they don't have 401ks and investment funds. They have children. Their children are their retirement and their future. And part of their future is going to the United States. That's still baked into the mix. That's eroded a little bit for other areas of the world, but is still the narrative in that country. But there are students that the really ritzy private schools that we went to, that's not going to be for us. They're the top 100 name brand shoppers. They're going to be looking at the Ivies. There are public schools where students test at the gifted range that are very adept at English and they have just enough money that they can swing it. That's a sweet spot for us. And if we've got an agency in country that we can say that to, they build a profile and then they put their network to work and then we educate them on who is going to be best here. And that's really how it's going to happen. And then we're honing in on academic programs too, computer science, business. Those are the big ones, hospitality as well. So when we look at marketing, we can narrow in on message, what's the persona, and what are the programs. And these are just some specifics. I won't go through all of them. I know this is in the packet. The biggest thing that I could state is that piece of having a couple partners, and we are working on developing a few right now. I know Carol and Jason Tack and I are having conversations with a couple different firms. This will be something that is very carefully thought out and planned, though. This is not going to be a fly-by-night with whatever we do. You noticed in the packet I passed around too, there is a flyer that marketing created specifically for us. It looks very different than our traditional publications, and that step through speaks to more about what they need. What do international students need to submit? Application is different, cost is different, timeline is different. There's a visa process involved. There's a value proposition involved that's much different. If you are going to send your student 8,500 miles away, this needs to be worth it, and the payoff needs to be there when they get here. So marketing created that piece specifically for us. It was a first pass, but being there, we would hand that to students and say, does this have what you need? And also the organizers, same thing. So we collected feedback. Now we can do a second iteration of this to make it even better. So just in terms of numbers, if you look at where we're at, for the spring semester, we had 29 F1 students. And an F1 student is essentially somebody from another country who is here on a visa. So they've gone through the immigration process. We graduated 8 students a couple weeks ago, which is absolutely fantastic. I remember a time when we had 2 F1 students on campus, period, let alone having 8 graduate, which was fantastic. So the pool, this is recently updated. We just passed the June 1st deadline, so we have no new applications. We end it early in the summer so students can do their visa process. We have 23 admitted students for face-to-face, and we have 5 admitted students for online study, which the process is not as rigorous because they don't need to go through the visa paperwork for that. And our goal is to essentially recruit 40 new between this fall and this spring. So we're on track. It's aggressive, but that's what we need to do. One of the things as well, when we got back, we dropped a social campaign on top of the cities that we visited. And this is very fresh information for just a couple weeks out. But these are just some of the numbers. The highlights are, 4.6 million people were reached. And we're tracking to post-trip into the fall. We're tracking our international website, and we're tracking what it looks like from those cities to see the effectiveness, because it all goes hand in glove. There's no funnel anymore. Now you get your information wherever you get it, and then hopefully you get to the source where you do the next step. So if we can start to see patterns and get people in the right place, that's the goal. And this was a picture at one of the schools. All the school visits we did were outside because you're about 1 degree from the equator there. So it was hot. It was very warm and humid the whole time we were there. But we were out there, and they loved the flick, so we brought a stuffed flick everywhere we went with us. That was like the most popular thing we had.
Oh, awesome.
It's popular here, too.
Yeah.
Yes. But we had enough where we gave a flick to each one of our interpreters, and they were very happy about that when we were at each fair. But that is my presentation. There is a little bit of information I threw in the itinerary that we had, and then I will open the floor to questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
We spend a lot of time talking about support services for students.
Correct.
So I guess the question is, what unique or additional support services do you have to provide for international students, particularly these that are coming, for face-to-face?
Almost everything that we do has to be considered for what it means for somebody who is 11 hours time zone difference. No, for real though. So
Yeah.
if you need help just getting your application, your visa paperwork, issuing account for your IT, before you even get here, we have to figure out how do we communicate with them? So a lot of it is done electronically, but when they get here, we do have a working group. So Sarah Whiffen and I co-lead this, and we work with housing and we work with orientation. We have a dedicated advisor, so they're registered in the correct classes. We have a unique dedicated orientation where we bring in all the experts on campus and we get them a phone number and tell them how to go to the bank. And ahead of time, we say, this is all the stuff you should shop for, and this is what a code is. And yes, you're going to need to bring money for food, and this is how you're going to talk with your folks. We have worked through the last couple of years to basically create a shadow system for every support service we have for all international students. When you hone it down to Asia, it gets more difficult because of the time differential. And that's one of the things that we're working through now, especially if we're going to have online students. That will be extremely challenging, depending on if it's an asynchronous or synchronous class that they need to take, and how does tutoring work. And then there's the cultural piece of just being here on this campus in Ontario County. Yes, we can all step back and say, this is great for the community, but is the community going to understand that and get it and embrace it? So we have to help that narrative out too, and educate other offices and faculty that, hey, you have somebody in your class that this might be their third language. That's a huge part of it. And we continue. It's an ongoing thing, but yes, we are paying attention to as much of those services as we can.
And I have a question.
It appears that are we more interested in bringing them to campus than having them do online? Right?
We will do both. There is a much greater demand to study than there is online, but we will leave no stone unturned. So what we mean by that is we have right now about 40 students that applied that did not get us all the required paperwork by the deadline. We're actively going through all of them now to see if we can admit them to an online program, and we did 5 of them today alone. We're also working with the agencies on ground to say, if you have a student who maybe can't afford all of it, they could start online and then transition over. So that is a model, but it's not typically thought of over there. So yes, it works and makes sense for us, but we have to pay attention to what they want.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
In one of your slides, you referenced that we have two existing students from
Correct.
Vietnam, and have we had past students before those two? No. So they're our very first two.
There. And typically those students that didn't come through this campaign, we've had a connection, or the one student we have, Vin, who is going to work in our office this summer,
Oh,
which I might selfishly sit him down for a cup of coffee a few times to see if we're doing the right thing.
right.
He wants to go to our IT for engineering, but he had a family connection in the area.
Okay.
So that's where that came from. It was much more organic. But the goal is to grow this from 2 to 8 to 10 to 40 over the series of 2 or 3 years. It's not going to happen overnight. And also, if we bring students in under an umbrella contract with a firm, if a student comes here and they don't have a good time, they are not going to promote our school because their reputation is on the line too. So there is a heavy obligation with the suites, with the existence, if they play on a sports team, there's a huge obligation there.
You touched upon my follow-up was the two existing students and how they could be ambassadors for those that might reach out to them and say, well, what do you think? I would think that might be a primary source of information for the decision-making.
We have the other market we're honing in on is Germany. And Germany is big for us for our men's soccer team. And we're a couple years ahead of the curve on that one. And that's exactly what we did. We said, who's your coach? We worked with our coach to talk to their coach and say, open up the tree and then let's get something going for real. So there is definitely that smallness to it that can get bigger if you're just patient and keep going with it.
So my final question is, are there any other SUNY community colleges focusing in on Vietnam?
Fort Montgomery is one of them, and GCC.
Okay. Thanks.
Hit the,
Is it on?
hit the people button, and you'll turn red. The face.
Couple questions.
Sure.
So is there a recruitment season like there is in the United States where they expect higher ed to come to their high schools? And
Yes.
That-
It's in fall is busier.
Yeah.
This was a quieter trip in the spring, so fall would be more of a heavier lift for us pushing into fall 27.
and do you work as a team? I saw the screen, Albany and Oswego. Are you in touch with those people?
We are
So are you
currently
collaborating
working
with them?
Yes. Our goal would be if we could apply a dual acceptance letter for us in New Albany, that would be a powerful recruitment instrument. We're not there yet, but John from New Albany, we've been talking to figure out how we can do this.
And do you have a profile? Like, for example, you mentioned in some high schools, English is taught, so English becomes a second language in their curriculum. Are you targeting those kinds of schools or both?
Right now, we haven't gotten that sophisticated or nitty gritty,
Yeah.
but eventually we could. The Western schools that I mentioned are the wealthier ones. So the British colonial schools, the Canadian schools, it's a little out of our reach. So we have to identify the public schools that have honor students. And that's when we can kind of create that vein almost of student that we're looking for. It's on the roadmap. We're not there yet.
So I'm just trying to gather some perspective.
Yeah.
So how about your own journey in terms of acculturation?
I never thought I would go to Asia. I've been to Europe, but that almost felt like Disney compared to this. Not to discount Europe. My stepfather was a Vietnam vet, and I've had others in my family. So my perception of Vietnam was something that was altogether baked into that. But going and seeing the reality there and actually being in a communist country was very eye-opening for me to just see the civics and how the people acted. It was wonderful and it was a great opportunity. I don't know if that's getting to the heart of it, but personally, I was very thankful to go. I did miss my wife and daughter tremendously. I was there for almost 2 weeks.
I think this is a very exciting, and I think the end game is to have, a diverse student population in higher education on this campus.
Yep.
And rich in diversity and widespread in diversity. you know, in terms of learning styles, individual differences, um, languages, countries. I think this is a very, very exciting first step, and I think the internationalism is just so attractive and so full of potential for this campus and, and for the whole network of community colleges that, I've learned as a new and beginning trustee that there's a real strong network among the trustees that I'm sure there is among presidents, and I'm sure there is among faculty and staff too, by region or across the state and possibly, you know, nationally too, or regionally and within the United States. So I think the infrastructure is set up for, you know, as you kind of hinted at the beginning. So I'm very excited about this as a trustee, to see the potential for this kind of, I know diversity is such a namby-pamby wonder bread word, but I mean, I don't have time to really elaborate on its definition, but I think you understand what.
Absolutely. You know, and there's a network of enrollment folks, which I worked in the private sector for years. This is the first public institution I've ever been at. And at a private school, you compete. Like you don't shake hands and share with the other schools. But being within SUNY and then being at a school like us, and with the changes that are going on with the visa process, there has been a tightening and an opening of communication between the people that work in this segment of enrollment at schools to share best practices and like lean on each other more than I've ever seen. So that's an exciting piece for SUNY too, because all the time we're talking with Maria Hudson Valley or Mohawk Valley. Hey, we've got this issue going on. We do too. What did you do? Oh, send me the form. Like that's happening on a weekly basis amongst most of the SUNY schools that work in this space.
Yeah, and I think this part of upstate New York, Western New York, Finger Lakes, this would just be such a welcoming opportunity, and in so many different ways. Thank you.
You're welcome. George?
Yeah, one last thing, just an observation. I think as we acculturate them here, the student corp will be an excellent ally, an essential tool in the kit, I think. I don't know if the board is fully aware, but there's 12 officers on the student corp. 6 of them are international students.
Yes.
Fully half. And getting them involved seemed to really help those students. And I would imagine they're also very, very sensitive to the needs of the other international students as they're planning on how to expend those student fees and things of that nature. So hope you draw them in best you can. Thanks.
So I did have one follow-up, and it was referencing the price. Is the price an issue? Did you get a response with regard to a annual cost of north of 25,000? And if so, I'm curious of your reaction to that.
Yeah, our price is very attractive.
Okay.
There's price for tuition, but then there's cost of attendance.
Sure.
And when it comes to that, that means something for the visa world. So on the back side of that flyer, you can see
Right.
the total cost of attendance. When we state that number, we issue that with the federal government, and then a student needs to provide us a liquid statement in order for us to provide their paperwork, right? That number is much higher than what our tuition looks like. So one of the things we're investigating is, are there ways that we can pull levers to manipulate that? So for instance, we put in $5,000 for travel because that's probably how much it's going to cost to go back and forth twice now. We don't need to do that. We're the only SUNY two-year school that does that. So maybe we say, let's not do that. So that reduces it by 5,000, but then I go to Jason and say, Jason, why don't we boost up tuition about 1,000 for international, and then we offer $1,000 scholarship. Now the family says, I've been recognized. If you can give a scholarship, they feel like you want them. And if you can offer a dual admission between us and a university center, that's the ticket. So like those are the small moves that we can do internally just to create a better product and offer to sell.
Well, you touched upon, I was going to direct this to Bree. Are there scholarships that we might be able to access for international students in general? And or is there a specific fund necessarily or an effort underway?
I think we do have one in existence
We
right
do.
now, Steve.
Yep.
But surely we could work on growing that in the future.
Yeah, and this is more of my private school background. And this is where you don't necessarily need to have the goal in Fort Knox. Where if we assume that we're gonna have a $7,000 tuition rate, but they'll pay $6,000.
Right.
We have the funding, you see what I'm saying? We just set it at a rate and then that scholarship just lives as a built-in coupon. But that's a different scenario. We don't do that here. That's unlikely. So that takes thought and discussion, which is why we're doing the right thing and we're working with you, Jason, and we're making sure that's okay and it meets SUNY. We don't want to just pull the lever to pull the lever.
But what we're hearing you say is that scholarship, that acknowledgement, that recognition is an important,
Correct.
even central piece to those that are making the decision, the family, let's say, on behalf of the student.
Cheap is cheap, low cost plus value and want.
Right.
That's ROI.
But it sounds like maybe it's even a cultural
Yes, it is,
response,
yeah.
if you will.
Yes,
So you really honed into that. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I have two questions for you,
Okay.
Matt. One, looking at your plans for 26, 27, I did not see this here, but you may have talked about it, is establishing relationships with cultural institutions in the Finger Lakes and Greater Rochester area for Asian populations
That's a fantastic idea.
that may also be interested in perhaps funding a scholarship or providing activities that would be on the, let's make sure they feel welcomed in the community area.
We have not done that, but that is a great idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope that could come to something. The second question I have is about the visas. I get very nervous about visa status. And we do say the ability to maintain your F1 visa status. Are you comfortable that we can say that? I mean, what is it that you mean by that? I just want to make sure I understand what our college is
Yes.
promising, if you will.
So I am 100% confident in that statement and that language. So the way the system is set up now is that the college or university, we register with the federal government. We go through a series of applications, site visits. Every year we have an annual fee. We have to approve and we have a charter with them. It's called an I-17. The I-17 is signed off by myself, Dr. Nye, and a few other folks at the college. We issue that to Homeland Security and then they say, yes, we grant you authorization to do visa paperwork. The important thing is that every one of these things that's written here, every policy we have, we follow this backwards and forwards and upside down. And as long as we do what we say and we say what we do, and we work with students every step of the way. So when a student is admitted, we offer the acceptance, they pay a deposit. It's 50% of tuition for the first semester. Once we receive the deposit, we then issue what's called a Form I-20. We then provide the Form I-20 to the student and give them a list of everything they need to do in their home country to schedule a visa appointment. Then we send it again. Then we email them. Then we text them. And then once we find out when their visa appointment is, we coach them through that process. And then we ask for them to follow up. Beyond that, every time a student leaves or enters a port in the United States on a visa of this nature, it's tracked in the SEVA system. Every single day, we monitor it. Nathan, who is the key person in admissions, he goes through and he looks at every record to make sure there's no violation. It is a heavy lift, but we need to do that now. The thing that happened last summer, which caught people off guard, was in July, they said, we're suspending visa appointments for X amount of days. What that did was anybody who was admitted but didn't have their appointment yet, It was a de facto way to block people from obtaining a visa to come in without making a law or doing something. We're very early. We are very stringent. We're more restrictive than the other two community colleges. Because of that, our visa rate is about 85%. That's unheard of. And the success rate of students coming in is very high. We've only had one student that we had to terminate. And it was just due to, he left without telling us, so we didn't sign the paperwork for him. But that's it. But then again, we don't know what's going to happen. So this is the one thing that keeps me up at night. I know Carol's enrollment report was nice. That's the work we do every day. The visa stuff is the stuff that keeps me up at night.
I can imagine. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. We appreciate that.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, indeed. Thank
Okay.
you. I'd just like to put in a plug for the Education and Planning Committee meeting on Dr. Ortiz is going to lead the meeting on next Tuesday morning, which is talking about experiential education from an international perspective. So we certainly second your comments, Fred, about the intriguing aspect of a global presence here at FLCC. Thank you for all of the information.
No, thank you. I appreciate the time.
Michael and Christian and Matthew, you back up again?
You're not getting rid of me yet.
Ready to
Speaking
roll?
about our adult learner engagement strategies, excellent.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Fisher, registrar here at the college. I'm here to provide a brief preamble and answer questions at the end. And then to turn this over to Matt. Again, sorry to do that to you, and to Chris Cull, our one-stop director. So we're here to talk about adult learner engagement strategies and re-engagement strategies, even though this doesn't say it. And what I mean by re-engagement strategies is students that were previously here at the college and trying to entice them to come back to the college. So if you could, who's that dragging the slide here?
You bet.
I got it? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. The clicker's there.
Okay, there we go. So briefly, our goals are to identify adult learner populations for you, our current strategies for engagement, and then talk a little bit about some opportunities we see for improvement, expansion of that. And I'm going to turn this over to Matt again.
Hello again. Long time no see. Okay, so we did a little bit of a cut. This is our application pool for our two most recent intake terms. So our last two completed full falls, our last two completed full springs. And the first column of apps, that's the total number of applications that were submitted. And then that third column, age, we define an adult learner as somebody who is equal to or greater than the age of 24. So if you look at and read it across, so for fall 25, for example, we had 5467 total applications submitted. Of that, 2676 were aged greater than or equal to 24. So almost 49% of the application pool fell in this adult bucket. If you compare that against the year before, you're talking about an increase. We went from a 39% share up to a 49% share. And I'll get there in a minute for how we did that. But then if you look at the registered, that's the other story. It's nice to get an application, but the goal here is to register a student. That means that they're doing what they need to do and we're doing what we need to do. So the registered percentage, so for fall 25, 1503, total registered 653 were adults. So a share of about 43.4%. That is an increase up from 36%. So we saw a significant increase in adult learners both apply and register, which has all sorts of implications for their needs and their wants and the services once they get here as a student. Spring is a little different story because it's typically transfer heavy to begin with. So if you look, but just a percentage wise, so from the app pool, it rose from 64% to about 66.7. So not a huge jump. But what was good to see was that we went for registration from 59 up to 66. So when you see a bigger jump, you're converting better. I would like to think we learned something from fall and transition that into spring. It might have just been the composition of the people of the semester. So a huge driver of this thing is a little thing called SUNY Reconnect, which I'm sure you've talked about a few times and I've seen reporting on. But in terms of the total number of applications, so when I'm using this number, this is for full fall 25, full spring 26. When I say an application submitted, that means they meet all of the metrics except for the back-end validation. So when somebody applies in admissions, we can see everything except for whether or not they went to another college, and we don't know if they've done their financial aid paperwork yet. So this is the application number. So this is what admissions is working with on the front door. You'll see between just those two intake terms, over 1,500 applications, about 1,000 offers, registered students, 472. So this was a major driver for us. And this all came pouring in after the campaign launch this time last year. So last summer was kind of a rodeo with this. And then dispersed awards, 486. So almost 500 students actually were dispersed funding for SUNY Reconnect. Now, this has been a joint effort in terms of promotion for it. So when the campaign dropped in May of 25, SUNY promised to stick with it and promote it. It wasn't like one of those press releases and they dump a bit of money in it and then they walk on to their next thing. This has actually been ongoing. So from May 1, 2025, dedicated through this, it's been updated, great. April, so just that 1 year, $2 million that they put into this. So that's at the parent level. That's what the state is doing, right? But then internally, these are the things that we're doing, and marketing has been the driver of most of this. So we created our own dedicated website for it to drive all of our communication campaigns to. Digital advertising, social media, you've seen the billboards in and about Canandaigua. We created a brand new print piece for it. And then we just educated people through email too. And the applications you've already seen. But what was exciting about this though, was that look at that number within 30 days. So that means that over this time period, that big, huge bucket of applications I talked about, the majority of them immediately before going to our application, they were on the SUNY Reconnect website. So that means they saw something which took them to that website and then immediately they applied. That's almost unheard of. Like in the age of everything beyond like the way you collect information now, like you cannot draw parallels and connections like that. It's a remarkable stat. And these are just a few samples. So the piece on the left is a screenshot of the website that marketing built. In the middle, that's the actual physical piece that marketing had, and we've been distributing it out. And then on the right, you see a couple examples of the social media campaigns that have been flowing out locally to support what's going on with the state. So that's Reconnect. At this point, I'm going to hand off the clicker to Chris Call, who's going to walk us through some other items.
Thank you, Matt. Hello, for those that don't know me, I'm Christian Call. I'm the director of the One Stop Center. Part of the One Stop Center, we lead the re-engagement with readmit and returning students who have stepped off campus, taken a break from school. And what I'm going to talk about a little bit tonight with you is our communication we do with these students. The application process is an outdated point on there, so that shouldn't be there. But returning student enrollment, our RTF and DDP programs, which is return to finish, and debt deferral program, and then the numbers that we've seen through those programs as we move forward. Our communication that we do with our readmits, the students who have stepped away from FLCC, there's two different groups we focus on from the One Stop Center with the support of the registrar's office, who helps us quite a bit with this. We've got the students who actively on their own reapply to come back. Right away, we communicate with them, walk through what they need to do to re-engage with the college, become a student again. That's step one for that student population that does that on their own. Step two is those students who haven't thought about coming back or haven't done the application yet. We do active engagement and reach out to them to encourage them to reapply, come back, see what's new at FLCC, we can help you out. Those students will then go through number one themselves. So if they actually apply, we'll engage them there also. But beyond the building awareness about coming back to FLCC, we also keep in touch with them through this process at different points to really drive their action, tell them what's going on, tell them why the reasons to come back, the reasons to consider FLCC again, and what we can do for them. certainly the SUNY Reconnect this last year came in big in that step 3 of saying, why would you want to come back here? This is why. A lot of these students can fall into that program. And as we get closer to the start of the semester, with the help from the campus center, we do personal outreach with telephone calls, talking to them and walking through where they're at, what roadblocks they're having. We continue to communicate with them via email with the dates and deadlines that are coming up. And as we get really close to the start of the semester, we continue that personal connection, but we also continue with email saying, these are the hard deadlines that we've got to meet to get you registered. We start getting a little bit, well, not a little bit, we get very straightforward about these are your deadlines you need to meet. We want you back. We still keep it nice and friendly, but that's the engagement we do. This is a constant improvement. We're working on making this better. We just know right now we've got steady communication going out to these students and we're getting good feedback from them. When we look at the 3-year trend, the past 3 years of our enrollment from these students, we have seen the numbers go down. And one of the reasons for that is the programs we put in place with the RTF and DDP that I'll talk about next. We've had also, I would suggest that we expected these numbers to even go down more than this, but because of SUNY Reconnect, the DDP program, debt to deferral program that we have, they've maintained and gotten better than we would have expected them to over this time. Our return to finish program, when I refer to that as RTF, this is for students who have been engaged in the collections process. If they've been through the collections process, that's already not on the books for us, so they can come back, but they still owe us money. So this allows a forgiveness if they complete their degree when they come back of $1,200 of that debt they owe us. This number is going down every year as far as this is another one that's dropping because of the way the debt collections have worked here at FLCC. And following COVID, it was a weird situation. So we don't have a lot of students enrolled and engaged in that program, and that continues to decline. But the debt deferral program has been really helpful. This current students can take advantage of this. If they owe more than $500, we don't let them register for classes for future semesters. If they sign up for this program, they get put on a payment plan and they have to make active payments, and that allows them to register and move forward and not stop out of the college. And we do feel this has made a huge difference in keeping students enrolled, engaged in the college and not walking away. We always have that fear once they walk away, it's hard to bring them back. So we're keeping them engaged by allowing them to re-enroll or continue enrollment under this program. Or if they've left because they had a debt, they can still come back over to this program, and we'll have an active payment plan set up for them, work with them to make sure they can make payments and move forward with that. Our numbers in this program started in 2020, and you'll see the numbers have fluctuated quite a bit. Fall is usually the highest number, the higher number that we bring in, but as I said earlier, the return to finish continues to go down because we don't have as many students going through collections and returning to college. The debt deferral program, at one time, it was $1,000 that they had to stay under. So that number's also gone down because it has allowed students to remain enrolled without having to go into this program or go on to and stay at FLCC without any challenges with that. I think, Mike, you're up next for this. That's Matt? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hi again, everybody. So these are just a few areas where, as we look at these different programs, there's different offices that administer them, but essentially it's all within student services. So we continually talk and we discuss, but there's a couple of things we could do to improve outcomes. You know, we always talk about why can't we get a higher rate for some of these populations if they're presenting themselves again? Why aren't more doing the thing they need to do? But sometimes it's more than just a social or a registration issue. There's a billing issue or something like that. But the things we're working on is there are things we can put into our Slate CRM, which I presented on that in the past too. Historically, that has been devoted to our degree and certificate seeking students on the front door, but we've started to do more onboarding and communication for their offices. So if student accounts has an issue, we can bring it into the system and send a message out, and it's got more impact and it looks better, things like that. But we're constantly looking at how can we communicate with these students at the right time with the right message to be impactful. The student interface we have, my FLCC, we put in place for a couple of years. Are students getting the right alerts at the right time? Are we basically leading them through an easy path? You know, a lot of these students for re-engagement in particular, they're not here for a reason. They left. Bringing someone back into the fold again, it's doubly as hard because you have to overcome what happened in the past and you have to pave a pathway for them. So essentially, these are just kind of like, we wanted to highlight the fact numbers are numbers and that's great. But what happens behind the scenes, what we do together to use our systems more efficiently to better communicate with students, these are some of the bigger buckets essentially that we tackle. And I think Q&A. So if my esteemed colleagues would like to join me, we can huddle around the podium and see what we get.
Do we have any comments or questions? One question that I have is, do you see any patterns developing about the reasons why we are, one, both successful at getting some to return and reasons why it's not working? Or is it so individualized that there isn't a pattern?
I would say it's so individualized that isn't a pattern, but what we have found with those who do come back and successful, we're making sure they're aware of the resources and supports they need. And a lot of times I would say the majority, besides the ones academically that were dismissed, majority of students leave is because they don't know what's here for them. They think there isn't that support, even though we get it out there the best we can. But when we have a student come back, now we have the new ASAP counselors, the new support systems through that. When they can engage in one of those programs and get that more individual attention that maybe they got when they were here 5 years ago, I do think that is making a difference for that. So we do look at it as our responsibility. And I got to give credit to Mike for this, as far as he said, as this is evolving, we're working on the communications plan. He suggested strongly that we need to start making that right out front to these students, that part of it, these supports that are available. Like, look, you were here before, you had this trial problem. We've got these people to help you. You had these challenges and issues. We've built supports for you and we want you to take advantage of them. And that's part of the future with this communication plan. Moving into this next year is going to be part of that process is going to be, hey, did you have problems? Did you know we have this program for it? Did you know we have these counselors available? And that's going to be a standalone communication outlining those things. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you so much for coming and presenting.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Dr. Ortiz, we're going to talk about some strategic thoughts on student success and retention.
And I'm actually starting with our student success presentation, but they are all related. So this is a perfect sequencing as it ties in beautifully to the previous. Okay. Is that- One moment, please. Okay, well, thank you. This evening, I am here to talk about student success by design. As you know, the Academic and Student Affairs Division has a 3-year plan on inclusive excellence and holistic success. And this year-end update, which is year 2, is really organized around one central idea: success by design. And so this year we have focused on building intentional systems that help students see their path, stay connected, learn in well-designed courses, and move forward through completion, transfer, career, and contributions to the community. So briefly, a few takeaways for the board. This is just not a single initiative. As you just witnessed, It is part of a greater ecosystem, and that we collectively are implementing backwards design to meet our outcomes of an exceptional student experience and completing the desired outcomes. So we have been very intentionally working on implementing the systems to support student success and their ability to get there. So main purpose, it is a coordinated infrastructure, and you will see in our following presentation the impact on students when those comprehensive support systems are in place. And I will just briefly highlight a few of the milestones that we have reached this year. Recognizing major areas of progress, again, not isolated initiatives, but rather the integrated student success model. Another thread you will notice through this is capacity building. So we are working to increase our capacity to meet students where they are and keep them on the path. So SUNY Reconnect, we've already discussed. We have a first-gen mentoring program this year that is new. Again, we have worked extensively with our colleagues in enrollment management in support of our EOP program and improving processes there. We've relaunched our strategic scheduling committee. And together, all of these are moving from individual initiatives to a coordinated infrastructure to help students enter, connect, persist, and complete. Academic momentum. So as you know, we have our approved academic momentum plan, and we are now moving into implementation. But it gives us a very focused way to approach all elements of academic momentum. So major accomplishments this year: the implementation of the course rotation schedule that is now going to be in watermark and visible for students, families, advisors, faculty, so that everyone knows when courses are going to be offered for short and long-term planning. Advising, FLCC 101, our enhanced onboarding experience that you learned about last month. Our success coaching, which was tied in, inclusive teaching, our interventions in our gateway courses, flexible scheduling, and the high flex and other modalities. So what we have proactively been doing is looking for those friction points and working to implement proactive strategies to mitigate them. Together, all of these programs that we have been working on to create this ecosystem, the course quality improvement program, the effective teaching practices, universal design for learning, accessibility in Title II, the course modalities, the definition, the fact that it is now every course modality is published, definitions in the course schedule, consistently deployed college-wide. Open educational resources are also fully under development. And then finally, I noted that through our most recent negotiations, we have implemented required midterm reporting, required use of the college's learning management system, the gradebook, to ensure that students always know their academic progress in a course at all times, a shortened final grading period, and required prerequisite verification by the college, making sure that students are properly in their courses. All of these programs have worked together to ensure that students have a way to connect, adjust, seek support, and maintain momentum. And this slide focuses on the student experience. So again, we implemented 2 new search features on the course schedule. Students can now search by modality. They can also search by low cost and no cost instructional materials, removing yet another barrier. We have worked through Reconnect and our partners on the Strategic Enrollment Planning Committee about the adult learner experience, including scheduling modality options, etc. We had a year-long series in strategic enrollment around how we are ensuring right connections, recruitment, retention, academic planning, student support, all into the greater student success conversation. And of course, student success does not end at completion. So we are looking very, very diligently at post-completion success, whether that is into transfer, into workforce. We have a number of initiatives that we have been proactively leaning into the future needs of our students and our communities with Google micro-credentials, the robotics and manufacturing technology program, the AI programming, SUNY semiconductor, workforce Pell readiness, internships, advisory boards. In fact, as was mentioned earlier, we have had an entire year series in education and planning specifically on experiential learning, because that is a key indicator in connecting college and career through internships and lived experiences. And ultimately, that connects to supporting our community vitality. So in the year ahead, the 3rd year of our plan, we are moving into full implementation, measuring what is, most important in our strategies, and scaling up on those items that we know are working. So writ large, all of these efforts are designed to connect access to success and designing the systems that help them stay, progress, and achieve their academic transfer and career goals. And in closing, in year 1, we planned and we built the systems. In year 2, we're aligning the work. And in year 3, we are moving to scale, measure, right, sustain, and institutionalize. Whoops. Went one too far. And just one important piece, which is probably the most important, are the people. So behind every single one of these strategies are committed, dedicated faculty, staff, across the board that are so passionate about student success, and none of this would happen without them and their deep care and authentically dedicated to making sure that they succeed while they're here and thrive in their futures. And now that concludes my presentation. I welcome any questions or reflections that you may have.
Please do.
You referenced AI maybe once or twice. I'm curious as to as you built these systems, even as you scale and measure them, what role, percentage, amount, let's say you might either use or initiate or interact with AI. I'm curious.
So in terms of our outcomes, our learning outcomes, we have two new, one that is related around information technology, including AI.
Okay.
So we have made a year-long effort in ensuring that that is embedded in our coursework so that when students graduate, when they complete, right, they have a certain level of proficiency in meeting that information technology metric. We also brought through curriculum a micro-credential this year in AI that will be effective fall 2026. And it is really an applied AI where there is an overarching course and then students can choose amongst more specialized depending on their area of need and interest. I would also suggest that in terms of the work that the AI task force has been doing, both on the operational and on the academic side, I think you may have heard about Spark, which is a faculty-led AI group that is also working to integrate AI specifically into advancing the use in teaching and learning in meaningful ways so that we can meet students where they are and support that individualized instruction. I would suggest those are the top three.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts? I just had one quick question. Have the advisory boards been helpful in determining your measures, your strategies for measuring your the success?
So I don't know that the advisory boards have been inclusive in the exact metrics that we are measuring, but in terms of the direction to inform the improvements to the curriculum and programs, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I stay here?
You may stay here and there, and you will be joined, I see, by Dr. Orloff as well. No?
Don't I have
Resolution.
resolutions first?
Jonathan was listed, however. Laura
I
is no.
am subbing for Jonathan
Oh,
on the
I'm-
first two,
Okay.
and then I have the following three.
Thank you. Go right ahead with the
Okay,
resolutions.
thank you so much. Okay, number one is the approval of job description for special purpose coordinator, Gemini faculty liaison. So this is a new job description formalizing the Gemini faculty liaison as a special purpose coordinator within the faculty coordinator framework. And the purpose of this position is to strengthen academic quality, consistency, and communication across our Gemini courses, so our concurrent enrollment courses. And this will include support in course alignment, instructor onboarding, classroom observations, assessment, collaboration, and professional development. And this role also will help ensure that students in Gemini sections experience the same academic expectations, rigor, and learning outcomes as students in our FLCC courses that are delivered by FLCC faculty.
Dr. Ortiz,
Yes.
does this rewritten job description include recruitment?
So this is a new job description under the faculty coordinator option. And so there is a required training for faculty who would like to serve as Gemini faculty liaisons. So this is a release time or overload stipend assignment that's available to faculty who would like to support those efforts.
I was thinking more about recruitment to K to 12 in terms of
Oh, for the students then coming here.
working with the college admissions counselors K to 12.
Jackie, did
With
you
the
want to add
ultimate goal
something?
to
Yeah, can I?
increase.
Yes, please.
Can I comment?
Yeah.
Okay, so, Fred, actually, my department, so the humanities department, actually will have the most Gemini liaisons because the number of liaisons that we were allotted has to do with the number of sections of courses that are taught, and many of the English courses that are in my department are, being taught as Gemini. When we decided who will be acting as liaisons for this first year, this was the exact conversation that I had with them. I don't know that every department is talking about that yet, but that is something I'm definitely going to encourage, because one of the things I mentioned to our liaisons is this is something that we should think about. You're going to be in there to work with the teachers to, I like to look at it as a class visit, not so much an observation exactly, because not to make them feel, like we're watching you kind of thing, but more here to help and support. And one of the things that I mentioned to at least the ones in my department is that would be a great opportunity to talk to admissions to see if are there things we can pass out, are there things because one of the things I personally think is kind of missing is that connection sometimes where the students don't realize while they're there that they are our students, and that we want them to make that connection to the college. So I have definitely mentioned it to our liaisons, and like I said, we have a pretty big chunk of them in that first year, but just from the sheer number of courses that we offer. So I would be happy to share that with the other chairs, to mention that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. That's very helpful. And yes, a big piece of this is the relationships, right? Building the relationships between the FLCC faculty and the teachers, and having that presence and that ongoing. So it is a significant investment on the part of the college, because I think it's, Carol, approximately 42% of our enrollment is through Gemini. So, it is critically important. And as you've suggested, right, we want the students to continue with us at FLCC. Right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's all, and you're competing with IB, you're competing with AP, and honors courses. So there's a lot that's going on in terms of academic advisement, K to 12, that you need to be partnered and become a trusted partner with it.
Absolutely.
That really means a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Okay. The second is a revised department chairperson position description. So this is a revised position description that updates our former academic department chair role to reflect the scope of departmental academic leadership at FLCC. And really the most significant change is that department chairpersons will now serve as the direct supervisors for adjunct faculty. They formerly did not. And so now the department chairpersons will be responsible for recruiting, hiring, onboarding, developing, supervising, evaluating, and recognizing adjunct faculty as integral members of the instructional team. And then the only other minor change is that because of the development of the Gemini faculty liaisons, those responsibilities that had been in the department chairperson job description have been removed. Shall I continue? Thank you. The third is the approval of the micro-credential policy. And basically, this was refining the alignment of the FLCC micro-credentials with the current SUNY guidance, the workforce development expectations, the Department of Labor nomenclature. Also, we revised the definitions as a minimum of 2 courses of no more than 11 credits. So again, reinstating the micro in micro-credential with a little wiggle room for some of those programs that require 13 for accreditation or certification standards. But these changes support more flexible, career-connected academic pathways while maintaining the academic coherence and quality. The next is the approval of the Animals on Campus policy. So the revised Animals on Campus policy modernizes the college's language and procedures while aligning current practice with legal, accessibility, safety, and operational expectations. The new language more clearly distinguishes service animals from animals that are approved for educational or wellness programming. It also clarifies the handler's responsibilities and establishes clearer circumstances for restriction or removal when necessary. But the overall goal is to support equal access while providing a consistent, safe, and respectful environment for students, employees, and visitors. Okay. And the last is approval of the admissions policy C4. And basically, well, how timely. This is related to the international student admissions, which you just experienced. But it is to more accurately reflect the application process, required documentation, financial support records, passport requirements for F1 visa applicants, and application deadlines. The other large change is that it now broadened for the English language proficiency requirements by adopting the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. And that also opened to a broader range of accepted exams, right, to determine the proficiency level of the students. So again, these revisions support clearer, more consistent, and more accessible admissions processes for otherwise qualified international applicants. And this would be beginning with the spring 2027 intake term. And that concludes my memos and resolutions.
Thank you for presenting the resolutions. Are you going to stay now and continue on this strategic thought presentation?
I am going
Excellent.
to give you a change in voice, at least for our opening.
So I say this as a gentle reminder that we are at 5:48 this evening. While we certainly want to hear the presentation and any comments and questions, I would just like to
do it quickly. Okay.
Be efficient. Thank you.
Well, the good news is that much of what we've talked about today is also in this, so the connections are. And that report that you just saw scrolling through, that's in your packet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. So we're going to talk a little bit about student success and retention. Dr. Ortiz will provide colorful commentary here on the side. We only have one mic here, so we'll just do our best to make sure we're well heard. Okay, so very briefly, we want to look at our understanding of student success as it relates to the pipeline of students at various different markers around their journey. To contextualize that, the current landscape is that it is becoming a more complex landscape. So we have nonlinear journeys. Connected support is the major way in which we are establishing to support those nonlinear journeys around a shared purpose. But as you can see on the screen, there are key factors that impact who our students are and the pathways they take. Did you want to add anything? Okay. So when we discuss the idea of what is impacting the numbers that I'm going to share with you and that are more specifically in the report provided to you, there are, as we've talked about many times, a great deal of context or contextual aspects that have to be taken into consideration when we want to change student success, when we want to see those numbers improve. And when we think about what is now and what is the future, we want to be thinking about what these things on this slide will mean for our future student population. If we're not thinking about those things, we can't design for that. So all of these items impact us now, but will continue to impact us as it impacts our student population and their ultimate student success. So we know that students are not, they don't take a linear path, right? They have lots of chutes and ladders along the way, right? Ultimately, though, we want to always be thinking about how it is that they can finish. That being said, when we think about measuring their success, we do measure in a linear fashion. So there is a bit of a disconnect to the fact that students are not on a linear path, but we have to look at linear markers. And those linear markers, again, you'll see on your screen, we look at course success, then fall to spring retention or persistence, fall to fall retention, so looping around, and then completion. Those are the four major markers that we always look at. These are all lagging indicators. We can't look at them till they're passed. The least lagging of them is course success. It's the first thing we can look at, and it's the domino that pushes into all of the others. And the most lagging is completion. And for our students, that is often not just lagging in 100%, 2 years, but beyond that. We want to keep looking so that their nonlinear pathway can still be captured in our linear metrics. So as I've done in the past, we're looking at green, yellow, red. Green means we're already having success. Yellow means we're on the way. Red means, hey, we're really not there. There's something in the way. So when we talk about course success, remember, least lagging of the lagging. And what we've seen is with the interventions we've been building to really structurally focus on looking at high failure rate courses, we've moved into all green, meaning all of our metrics are going in the positive direction. That doesn't mean we're done, but it means that the least lagging of the lagging, we're seeing that domino begin to fall. As we move forward,
Can I
please
say one thing now?
You can.
This will be my only intervention, but in our 24-27 academic and student affairs plan, we specifically are focusing on the top 10 highest enrolled, highest DFW courses. They are the first courses that we are providing interventions on in terms of the course design, in terms of the instruction. And I think also just raising awareness, the fact that people know what those top 10 courses are, the most influential to student success, has had a large impact already. and it will continue as we fully implement these systems.
Okay, so moving from course success to the next one, persistence, fall to spring, we see a combination of yellow and green. We're moving, it's not a red, but we're not fully there. And what we see with that green is support matters. Students that are engaged in direct support programs are in the green category, meaning their persistence is appreciably higher. That gives us an indication of what we need to keep doing and what we might need to do more of. And again, when we're thinking about that future that I was referencing with context, as we think about what those context changes are going to mean for changes in student populations, we have to make sure those supports are there, because the supports are what's turning green. The supports are what's moving the number. As we move to fall persistence, again, you can see on the screen, same concept. We have a mixture of yellow and green, no red, but we're not fully there. These dominoes are beginning to fall, and darkest green, disability persistence, again, reinforces when supports are there, persistence happens. When it's specialized and appropriate, persistence happens. So we have to think about adult learners. We have to think about part-time learners. We have to think about our first gen students. We have to think about students who are stopping in, stopping out, more micro credentials, all of the things that are context driven right now. And then long-term persistence, moving forward to fall, right? There we go. Same concept, right? We see the same concept moving forward. We're getting there, but we're not fully there on all of the aspects. And last, completion, which is the most lagging of the lagging. What this story tells me is those dominoes that are beginning to fall, they showed up in our least lagging of our most lagging. The first thing we measure is 100% completion. And what we've begun to see is an improvement in 100% completion. Not done. We still have equity differences. We still have work to do. But the big story is the dominoes are beginning to fall. We have to carry them through, and we have to be future forward in applying those lessons to those new populations or expanding populations, such as the SUNY Reconnect expanding adult population we just discussed. So what are we learning? Exactly what I just said, but to really put a fine point on it, as Dr. Ortiz mentioned in her presentation, coordinated support matters. That's what we have to make sure we're continuing to invest in. That's what our numbers are telling us. Any questions?
Any questions, Rich? Okay.
Lots of greens and lots of yellows.
Lots of greens and lots of yellows. And an interesting pattern in that. You know, I think that last one with the 100%, that's a pretty interesting concept when we think about, you know, lagging indicators. It does tell us we're beginning to pull through.
Thank you for the obvious attempt to make complicated information be digestible. And we like your red, yellow, and green system, I think. Thank you. And Chutes and Ladders.
Yeah, that one's fun. I thought it was Candyland.
Oh.
That's how far back I go.
So this has been extremely full and comprehensive Education Planning Committee meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
So Fred has so moved. Second, Joan, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Mahalik. Trustee Martin, Finance and Facilities.
Thank you, trustee. Chair. We'll call to order the June 3rd, 2026 Finance and Facilities Committee meeting. And as we review our main minutes, thank you to Jeff for leading that committee meeting. Appreciate that. And to Penny for putting the minutes together. Any questions or comments with regard to the minutes? Seeing none, Jason is joining us virtually. Hello, Jason. Welcome.
Hello and good evening. Hope
Go right
everyone's
ahead.
been enjoying the nice weather.
Yes, we have. Go ahead and lead us through the budget update and finance report, please.
Yeah, budget update, we're on track. Revenue is up. Summer tuition, I'm sure I missed Carol's opening remarks, but I'm sure she shared that, you know, FTE is up for our summer pretty significantly this summer. So we'll see a significant impact on our tuition being exceeding our budget. So state aid payments should come sometime here in June. So, you know, and then we'll have a little bit of revenue still coming from other counties in that line. So that will be above 11 million. We probably have about another, depends on summer, but you could see another 700 to $800,000 coming in there as well. So
Great. Questions of Jason on the revenue side? I know it's too early, but possibly next month or the next time we're together in August, maybe a projection as to where you think the year might end?
yeah, it should be summer. We won't have much after I report in May. We won't have much revenue left there. Most of it will come from our miscellaneous revenue and interest income, as well as the sponsors, but that will also be billed sometime here in June or not the sponsors, I'm sorry, the other county. We'll have that billed in sometime middle of June. So August I'll have some better projections.
Great. Expense side.
Expense side, again, tracking well with budget. We still have one number that's not in here that is we'll have our grade contract, which we have a resolution for. So some retro payments that we'll have to make here that will be reflected in these numbers as we come back together in August. But other than that, you know, utility expenses are up. Energy costs have been up. So we probably will be slightly above where we were in budget from the budget, but we do have some additional categories that we're spending below budget, so we'll be okay there.
Questions from trustees on the expense side? My question with regard to, first of all, they all align quite well with the two-third portion of the year. The overload and adjunct, do you anticipate those to be on budget?
We'll probably see adjuncts we'll have 2 more payments for them. Overloads, you'll probably be a little higher, and that will be as a result of our summer course of work, and especially our increase in FTEs. We'll have more students, so there will probably be more classes that we're offering. So I could anticipate overloads being a little bit higher than what we have here as budget. So,
okay. Final questions on the expense or revenue side. Seeing none, there are 4 resolutions and 2 informational items. If you could take them in succession, please.
sure. Just the other thing I wanted to, since we're talking budget, the state, as you guys have heard, have passed their budget. As part of that budget, there was the state allocated $12 million to community colleges, an additional aid. Of that, $8 million is related to program expansion, mostly with the programs that are aligned with our Reconnect, so in healthcare, advanced manufacturing, green jobs, and sustainability. And then there's the other $4 million is in unrestricted aid that is directed towards student success and support. So the allocations that we received from Finger Lakes would be $245,000 in the program expansion. So that would be, and that will be tied to a plan that we need to submit to a budget office, and then $121,000 in unrestricted operating aid. We should learn more. I'm at a CCBOA conference now, but we should learn more tomorrow from Josh. Will be attending, so we'll probably get more information on what that looks like. So, but thought I'd share that. There will be some additional state aid. The other two tranches of $8 million that have been passed in previous years' budgets will continue. But just wanted to update the board on that. We did get the allocations last night when the trustees passed the resolution for those allocations. So the SUNY trustees.
That's some good news, moderate good news. It's certainly, I like the trend line.
Yeah,
George?
I mean,
I'll come in.
Okay, a little later.
From the NYCCT.
Anything else on that subject, Jason?
no, that would be it.
Questions of Jason? Okay, resolutions and information.
Yes, the first resolution is, as I mentioned earlier, was the grade. We reached a tentative agreement with adjunct faculty. This is a 4-year contract, and we were within the terms or the limits that we had proposed to the board a year and a half ago. So,
Questions? Well done. Next.
the next one's to authorize a contract renewal with EAB Global for our strategic advisory services. This contract doesn't end until next year in April, but in order to get some discounted pricing, we took advantage of this. We've seen EAB has presented to the college and some of our opening day presentations and provides us with some additional research opportunities and data. So,
Any questions? Keep on going.
the next one is our is to accept their single audit report. Got an order here. This was prepared by Bonadio. This was issued back in May, but this was to accept the auditor's report. We did have a finding in the current year related to reporting. The next resolution will help us mediate that finding. So this is to accept that single audit report.
Committee Chair Astles, any comments with regard?
No, pretty straightforward.
Great. All right, and the final resolution.
Final resolution that was on the agenda is the approval of the administrators for the USDA online financial reporting compliance system. So it's authorizing myself as well as Chris Yarnell to be assigned as the administrator. So.
Okay. Was there addition? Thank you, Penny. So go ahead, Jason. I think there was a 5th resolution.
Yes, there was a 5th resolution that Penny sent out this afternoon. And this is to authorize signature on an operations agreement, operations and donation agreement for the FLCC Culinary Arts Center of Excellence. The agreement in draft right now is with the Canandaigua Area Development Corporation, FLCC, New York State Wine and Culinary Center, New York Kitchen, which is New York Kitchen and the Sands Family Foundation. This is to look at constructing the culinary center, and then the donation of that to the county, which will then be held in trust for FLCC. As part of this operations agreement, there was an RFP done that sought a donation, but also someone to actually share the facility and run the facility, which was successfully bid through with New York Kitchen and the Canandaigua Area Development Corp. So it walks through different, renting that office space with New York Kitchen for the initial 5-year term, and then final acceptance of that project. And then us continuing to solicit bids as that 5-year agreement comes to an end. And then
Any questions? We certainly are abreast of all that, and thanks for sending the updates.
Yep.
Informational items.
Information, maintenance and repair of our boiler system. This is just a renewed bid for that.
Okay.
And then our budget transfers is just within the same department, and aligning expenses with object codes.
Final questions from the trustees of Jason on anything he's presented. Jason, you get the final word.
Getting closer to year end. Enrollment's been up, so it's always helpful. So, and you know, I know the fall outlook right now is up compared to where we were last year, but still work to be done. But you know, that's all I have.
Great. Thank you. Entertain a motion to adjourn the Finance and Facilities Committee meeting. Moved by Jeff Astle, second by Fred. All in favor? Aye. We next meet at the Mueller Field Station. Chairman Don, back to you.
Thank you, Trustee Martin. Let's call to order the Finger Lakes Community College Board of Trustees annual meeting, June 3rd, 2026. Under the business part, in your packet, the 2025 committee meeting minutes were in there, along with the Board of Trustees meeting calendar. Could I have a motion to accept those?
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolutions. A resolution to appoint the Board of Trustees officers. On May 6th, at the Board of Trustees meeting, Trustee Astles, chair of the nominating committee, presented the following proposed slate. Chair would be Trustee Russell, Vice Chair Trustee Cushman, Secretary Trustee Guy. May I have a motion?
To move that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. A resolution to appoint the 2026-2027 Assistant Secretary to the FLCC Board of Trustees.
I'll move that.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. A resolution to designate the 2026-27 FLCC official newspapers, which are Daily Messenger and the Finger Lakes Times.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. A resolution to designate the 2026-27 official depositories, which are M&T Bank, Candido National Bank, and JP Morgan Chase.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will abstain from that. Please, thank you.
Thank you. And a resolution to approve reimbursement of 2026-27 necessary expenses incurred by members of the FLCC Board of Trustees. May I have the motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn the annual meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call to order our regular trustees meeting for June 3rd, 2026. Are there anybody on the line for us? No, okay, thank you. We have a Board of Trustees resolution of appreciation that I would like to ask Trustee Amon. Well, please. The resolution of appreciation to Trustee Aisha Aman. Whereas Aisha Aman was elected by the student body of Finger Lakes Community College on May 17th, 2025 to serve as student trustee. And whereas Aisha Aman has competently served Finger Lakes Community College as a student representative on the Board of Trustees from August 6, 2025
through June 3rd, 2026. And whereas Haisha Aman was always conscientious in her role as student trustee and displayed dedication and accurate representation for the student body in a professional and thoughtful manner. She has been considerate of student-related topics discussed at the Board of Trustees meetings and offered valuable insight into the student perspective. And where Haisha Aman presented as a well-informed ambassador through her participation with SUNY and NYCCT student trustee meetings on behalf of the college. And whereas Haisha Aman was a student or a mentor for student trustees at SUNY and NYCCT events. And whereas Haisha Aman continued with the advocacy for community college at the 2026 Legislative Summit in Washington, D.C. She has exhibited as a well-balanced student based on her leadership, capabilities, and opportunities that she engaged herself with as a college student, parent, and a full-time employee for Yates County. Should put in here, and how did she ever find the time? Now, therefore, be it resolved that the FLCC Board of Trustees expresses its sincere appreciation to Haisha Aman for her dedicated service to Finger Lakes Community College and to students attending Finger Lakes Community College. Congratulations.
Experience of my academic and professional life, and I really appreciate all of your guidance and mentorship. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minutes and resolutions.
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
I have a question. I'm assuming that we are voting on the resolutions that are listed on the agenda and not the one that was sent this afternoon in this group.
You want to amend the agenda?
There was an amended one. I can amend the agenda to reflect that, but I didn't have time to put it in there.
So I'll move that we amend the agenda to reflect the resolution that has been
Jason.
raised. I think we'll need a motion and a second on that.
Okay, give a second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And now, approve the amended consent agenda minutes and resolutions.
I'll move that.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any old business? I just got a little teeny bit of new business. I won't go real take too long. As this is my last meeting. Yay! You know, when I was mayor, when I got to my 12th year, I said, I want to stay longer. And I lost. Thank God, I guess, that I lost that one. This one, we have a great guy coming in. And I'm looking forward to working with you, Rich. I want to thank some very important people. Thank you, fellow trustees, for having my back when I needed it, and for showing me the ropes. Much appreciated. Donna, I don't know, you're the one that pushed me into this, so. I'd like to thank the cabinet and your staff for all that you do for exactly what you talked about tonight, student success. It makes me want to drive from Geneva to come to these meetings to listen to what you're doing. And thank you. So I'd like to applaud them. Thank you, President Nye, for all your help and your dedication. You love this school, I can tell. You're not here just working. You love this place. Like it's your own. And I really appreciate it. I enjoyed working with you. Last but not least, Penny, thank you so much for all that you did. trying to work around my crazy schedule. I can never thank you enough for it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Chairman Don, here.
Thank you. Your turn.
Mr. Chair, based on all the briefings and everything we had, I did ask for a few extra briefings to get put on that I thought were important for you to listen to. I cede my time unless there are any questions on my report from the trustees.
I would just add, there's been incredible graduations over your tenure and over our time here, but this was just seemed to be extra special in so many different ways. And so thank you. And an incredible number of students walked. I didn't hear the final number, but well over 300.
I don't know if Bree has the number. It was 289 originally. It's 30% increase, and the reflection is on the team of Lenore, Friend, Breach, Folio, and her folks. They're the core, and then all sorts of volunteers all around the college to make it a great event. But Bree, if you have any additional details.
I don't have the sort of attrition number, but I thought we were around 380 who had picked up their caps and gowns.
Oh, wow.
Which was almost 100-person difference from last year to this year. And special shout out to Michelle Robbins, because she really did pick up where Margaret Lorenzetti left off last year,
So,
in addition to Lenore Friend.
so Thursday nights at 5 seem to be a good thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
A lot of smiles everywhere, but thank you.
Okay, get the student trustee report.
My last one. Not much. Just gonna say that was an amazing commencement ceremony a couple weeks ago. I will forever remember that. We're gonna continue engaging students during the summer with trivia and some events that we have in partnership with Art Space 36, and we'll see what happens next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Audit and ERA.
No report.
Board development.
Just wanted to ask if Penny, if you had read extra copies.
I don't have
Okay.
extra copies. I'm sorry.
I apologize. I know there seemed to be a great deal of confusion about the number of self-surveys that were going out. I do have the board development. It's called a self-test survey, was separate from what Penny had sent out about our annual board self-evaluation and the presidential evaluation. The questions there are different, and the answers are designed to help us determine our pathway forward with policy governance. So I would ask, I hate to send out one more email about it, but I do have Fred's. Thank you very much, Fred. I have yours in paper copy and the digital copy. I have Jeff's and Rich's and my own. So if did you send it? I will look again. It may be that my emails are missing things, but if you haven't sent it and you still have that email, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm just going to give you a call and we can talk about it on the phone. The work group will continue over the summer so that we can be prepared to present the full board with information at our next meetings so that we can move this process forward that we have given ourselves. Thank you very much.
Personnel. Trustee Clifford.
Nothing, no report.
Okay. Association reports in the packet. Foundation.
Just a couple of things. I don't know if any of you really know how the foundation operates, but of course they go out and they fundraise to get private funds. And most of the private funds that come to the foundation are restricted. They go to name scholarship, things of that nature. very little money comes in, I guess you could say, to be spent generally. And as a result, the foundation has a difficult time raising funds to sustain their fundraising effort. And most schools that do this have an administrative fee that they put on their contributions. And it has now come to the time when our foundation needs to move to that. And the foundation has, at their last meeting, voted starting July 1st, there will be an 8% administrative fee on all contributions made to through the foundation. And this hopefully will sustain the foundation to continue to be able to fund their programs and raise money. This is a very common thing. And people will be notified of this. And most people who give money know that administrative fees are set. So does anybody have any questions on that?
Will we provide those that donate money the opportunity to pay a portion of that administrative fee, where sometimes that question, to those that are in the philanthropy world, that question is commonly asked.
I see Bree nodding her head,
or all of
yes. So yes.
Yes, well, it's not optional. So this is
Oh, okay, touche.
it will be an allocation made. So on any restricted gift going forward after July 1, 8% will be held in an allocation fund.
I see, okay.
But Steve, to your point, donors may ask if they could have a $1,000 restricted scholarship. And in that case, they would have the option to pay an additional 8% on top of that.
Okay.
To account for that. So yes, both are true.
And those options will be made available to those donors.
Absolutely.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions? Just a couple of nice things, fun things. On July 23rd, the foundation has their annual meeting, and it's a picnic, and it's usually very, very nice. The food is very good, and you are all invited to attend. But I don't know where it is. Is it here?
It's right here.
It's going to be here. Okay. A couple of times we went out to Mueller, different places. Okay. So it's going to be here. And we are going to have a new president. Kevin Flynn's term is up and Ali Mendoza will be taking over. And last but not least, the golf tournament is not going to be this month. So if you didn't get a notice, there's a reason for it. It's been moved to September 28th. And I know we do have a few golfers in here, so you want to put that on your calendar. And I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Cushman, YCCT.
As Jason mentioned, the budget was passed, and that was a little while ago, but yesterday, the SUNY Board of Trustees took that 12 million and allocated it. So if you recall, just for historical purposes, 3 years ago, they the assembly really came through and added $8 million. And that was because of a lot of efforts of a lot of people. And I just want to thank all of the trustees that have written letters, made calls, etc. I want to thank the presidents for doing that and then some, and really being always at the table with the strategies going forward. So without their partnership, despite Dan wanting to go nuclear most of the time, but then last year we got another 8 million, so that made it up to 16 per year. And this year, with the 12 coming in, we've been having great conversations, building relations with particularly Valerie and Will at SUNY. That has, we've also taken advantage of the public comment periods at the SUNY Board of Trustees, and certainly been very gracious, giving thanks and appreciation for the things that we are getting. SUNY Reconnect, all of the academic momentum programs and things of that nature. We asked that, we really made a strong case this year to, we need, without having any increase in funding for decades, it's creating a structural deficit. And And it's something that in order for us to continue to expand programs, it's an empty promise. We need to be able to get folks to graduate. We need them to be able to complete. So we made the case to them, and then yesterday they actually poked a little hole in the glass ceiling and gave us $4 million in unrestricted money. So that's the first time I can remember that happening. And for SUNY to acknowledge it. And then they've taken and they actually asked us for a comment, NYCCT quote for the press release. And then today for SUNY's state of SUNY also asked for a quote. And I was able to provide quotes for both of those. I can't remember a time where they've actually acknowledged the trustees of the community colleges. So I say that only to say that there's been tremendous progress. It's a lot of folks with a very steady drumbeat for a long time, but the respect is growing, and I'm very encouraged. We'll be working on getting the next strategy settled for what we're going to ask for out of the next budget process, and getting our folks working on that right away to move forward. Beyond that, the only other thing is we've got in September, we've got our NYCCT fall conference. There's a new trustee institute in there. And I think Haisha will tell you it's well worth it. Haisha was like a mother hen for all of the other trustees, all the student trustees that were there. People kept coming up to me, "You're a trustee, is amazing." But it was, that's going to, I think, also be a point. We're inviting the governor, we're inviting this chancellor, and we're inviting the chancellor from CUNY. So it's going to be quite interesting this year. So it's good. I'm excited that we broke that little hole in the ceiling. It's a pittance, but it's really important. And you can see what happened when we broke the ceiling to the 8 million. It starts a momentum. So fingers crossed. That's my report.
Thank you, Trustee Cushman. Did either you or Donna have anything on ACCT?
Yes, I do. And before I do that, though, I just want to again thank George for his excellent leadership at NYCCT. This wouldn't have happened if George wasn't behind it all. So I think all the community colleges owe George a debt of gratitude. I know he doesn't like public recognition for this, but he really did provide an extensive amount of leadership and encouragement and tactfulness in very difficult circumstances. So thank you for what you did, George. From an ACCT perspective, I am now on the Finance and Audit Committee. Some of you may laugh at that. I just wanted to pass on that they seem to be having a very good year financially. Their revenue has increased with some of the programs that they're doing. They have an increased membership. They've increased their corporate council membership, which are associations that are affiliated with educational programs that benefit community colleges. And they have increased their search services and retreats income as well. When we were talking about the retreats that they provide, they did mention that they will hold another lottery again this year where any community college who is a member in good standing can apply to get a full day retreat for free. They select 20 a year. They hold 5 back for people who do presidential searches. I guess that's included in there. But I looked at some of the topics that have for retreats. And one of them is on how to implement policy governance at your community college. And while it's a long shot, I know several New York community colleges have received a free retreat. I just thought it wouldn't hurt if we applied for a retreat. You don't have to say what it's for in the beginning. They will work with you on what you want as a retreat as time goes on. But I think it's worth applying for some free funding for a retreat to help us go through some topics that we might think would be helpful. The deadline for that is, well, this year's lottery is what I'm calling it. I'm not sure what they call it. Opens on July 1st. It's just a Survey Monkey process. I think, Rob, you get that email.
We've applied. We'll apply again.
And we will apply again. Excellent. And so it ends July 31st, and then they pick people on August 30th. And while I was speaking with some of the administrators there, Rich, I did add you as the incoming chair. So they have your email address, and Penny, they will be in touch with you to update the board list for next year.
Thank you. Could I get a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are now in executive session.
I moved it down a second.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yes, you can.